What's up, guys? There's an interesting report that just came out of Bloomberg last night. I was sound asleep. I should have woke up and hopped to it because all the usual suspects are talking about it today. You name it. RGT85, Smash JT, Spawn Wave. They're all talking about the latest news. When Bloomberg is talking about Nintendo Switch 2, that leads a little bit more credibility to this story because we have no confirmation at all. Nintendo has not come out and said anything in regards to their next Nintendo console. So it's all been speculative at this time. But now that the mainstream news, like Bloomberg of all people, are reporting this, you got to take some note. Now, off and on throughout the last couple years, Bloomberg's said things here or there, but the general consensus is the same now around the board. The Switch 2 is coming out sometime this year. Are we going to get a reveal? Probably not anytime soon. There's rumors of a February Direct coming, but I don't think we're going to see anything in regards to the Switch 2 in the February Direct. You got to look at fiscal years for businesses, and I would say maybe at the very least the springtime, like if there's an April Direct or so. But I'm also leaning towards maybe like a late summer reveal of some sorts. But right now in February, the next Direct is going to be game announcements that we haven't seen yet, and game announcements that we have seen, like Princess Peach and Thousand Year Door, you name it. Nothing really exciting in the world of console, but let's talk about this Bloomberg thing before you guys tune out, because I know people watching YouTube videos have the span of a goldfish. You guys last on a video about a minute long, and then y'all just, it's too long. And you look. All right, let's talk about it. In short, Bloomberg reported that this Switch would have an 8-inch LCD screen. Right off the bat, I'm a little disappointed in that. Even though I don't play portable mode much, I would want something that's up to par with what we currently have. The Switch has an OLED screen now. Going back to LCD, I feel it's a little bit of a kind of disappointing budget alternative. It's almost like they want to keep the cost down, but at the same time, this Nintendo Switch 2, or the Super Nintendo Switch, let's call it, it's going to be $400 for the digital only, and then $450 for a physical compatible Switch. So that's more than what the OG Switch was. When the OG Switch launched, I think it was only $300, right? Or $350? Am I mistaken on this? I don't remember because it's been 7 years since it launched. This is going to be a little bit more, but it's going to have less features. I would think that you're taking a step back if you don't have an OLED screen. But I digress. I did talk about some specs that were supposedly leaked, some specs that were going to be featured on the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, Bloomberg, I don't know if you guys had a chance to check this article. It is paywalled. So, Bloomberg is e-begging. By definition, with all you anti-e-beggars out there that don't like when YouTubers paywall stuff, y'all should be throwing the shit about Bloomberg putting paywall of information of stuff that we've already known, because this kind of 8-inch screen rumor has been floating around for the last month. Now, there is a analyst by the name of Hiroshi Hayase, and I'm sure I butchered his Japanese name. He's a Japanese-based Omida analyst, and he basically saw like a significant increase in what's called amusement displays production in 2024. So he's basically saying that it's because Nintendo's developing this new console that's coming out soon, that they have, they're having to produce new displays, that there's a ramping up. They're preparing for something. And I guess, his expertise does add to the, credibility of this report. Now, I just don't understand why Nintendo would go to an LCD model other than that they try to be budget-friendly for people. And I think in a way that always kind of holds the Nintendo consoles down. They're always like a step or two underneath. And I know there's people out there like, I just want good games. And I don't care if a Nintendo console's powerful. I'm fine with my regular Switch. I don't need a new one. It's like, okay, look, it's 7 years old already. It's time to get modernized. Because by the time the Switch 2 actually comes out, it's going to be underpowered again, because we'll get a PS5 Pro or a Series X mid-generation console. So we'll be back to square one. And at times I feel, Nintendo just holds itself back for whatever reason. I think this 8-inch screen size, yeah, it's currently surpassing what we have out there. I think the OLED Switch screen is 7 inches, right? So it's an extra inch. And then the standard is 6.2. The Switch Lite is 5.5. The Steam Deck OLED is like 7.5, I would say. And I think the regular Steam Deck is 7. So it's bigger than what's out there, I guess, in the competitive hybrid console market. But again, it's an LCD screen that is rumored. And to me, that's like, I don't know. I don't know what to think. And it's, I don't want to say it's disappointing, but at the same time, it's like, come on, Nintendo. You could have had an OLED screen at the very least so that the colors pop. Now, I do know that there's, cost-effective stuff. You got to keep the console affordable because families look at things and they might see a PlayStation, they might see an Xbox, and then they see the Nintendo over here for a little bit less. They're like, hey, you know what? Let's buy little Johnny the Switch instead. It's the friendly console. It's the kiddie console, right? That's what it comes down to. But it is a step backward, honestly. I don't know. I think the OLED was a much needed improvement. It wasn't enough for me to personally get an OLED Switch because I want more like frame rates. I want more considerable graphical capabilities, not just portably, but docked as well. And I felt there was no capabilities. And when you look at some of the other leak specs that were coming out, I feel that even though there might be an increased frame rate for whatever's coming out next on the Switch 2, there was not enough with the OLED Switch model. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, if the Switch 2 is going to have better specs, it has to have a worse screen. But the OLED, which has worse specs, has a better screen. It's like you can't have both. You have to have one or the other, guys. A good screen and bad specs, or good specs and a bad screen. And I don't know. I can understand business. You want to have cost-effective strategies and stuff like that. But I want a more, not just power-wise experience that's more effective, but I want a more visual effective. Like maybe, like one problem I had with the original Switch is that reading text in games like Breath of the Wild and stuff portably was just too small. And then, the screen just the graphics look real scratchy and stuff like that. I'm sure the OLED makes it look a little bit better, but I don't know. I feel that I would have wanted more. I don't know how accurate it is, but the fact that Bloomberg is talking about this rumor and they have it paywalled makes me believe that it is a little bit more of a fact than it is a rumor. I'm still going to get a Switch 2 regardless because I'm a Nintendo fanboy first out of everything. I'm excited about this console. But that LCD rumor that popped up today is just a little confusing in my opinion. Now, we've seen other rumors come up, like they have development studios, development of games with major studios that are going to be working on Nintendo IPs. And I guess, one of the specs that got me upset was the fact that the storage is still going to be considerably constricted. That it's only going to be, I guess, double of what we have right now, when I personally feel that it should be at least 500 gigabytes instead of 64. And people are like, oh, well, where are they going to keep it? It's technology now. You can have 500 gigabytes stored in somewhere on some kind of chip, right? But people were like, oh, Nintendo wants to keep things cheap and all this crap. Again, I don't know. $400 launch price for a new console is considerably more than what the Switch was. And then you think about how games are being priced right now, how they're going upwards towards the $70 market and stuff like that. Maybe going LCD is going to work for them. For me, though, again, something that I had the Switch for the last 7 years, I was looking forward to having something that's comparable with, what is out there right now. So, I don't know. I like having stuff up to date. I'm not one of those guys could be content with a console that hasn't been upgraded substantially in 7 years. 7 years is a long fucking time, guys. I don't want Nintendo to settle for something, just because they're worried about cost. And I guess maybe that's why I'm not a billionaire like Nintendo is. And yeah, sure, they get the good banger games like the Marios and the Zeldas and stuff like that. I just, as somebody that wants the up-to-date stuff, reading things like going from OLED to LCD, and I know I'm reporting this a lot, definitely makes me a little bit disappointed on the surface. But I guess when it comes out, it's going to rock our socks off, and we'll see what happens. So I just want to know your guys' thoughts on this console, this latest Switch 2 rumor. Let me know down below, and subscribe if you haven't. If you're brand new, hit that subscribe button, smash that like, comment, do all that crap. If you could do something to this video, do all of them. I'm just joking. Anyways, thank you for watching.